Welcome viewers, welcome to the new lesson from Dr. Arts Biology. If you did not subscribe the channel, you can just click on the subscribe button and bell icon. Welcome students, now we are just finally moving into the final stage of respiration or metabolism part, that is oxidative phosphorylation, by which our body is harvesting energy in the form of ATP from the food resources that we are taking in. So this is the final stage of respiration, or this is the final stage of catabolic metabolism, where you can derive energy from the food that you are eating. So that process is actually the oxidative phosphorylation. Let us think of for what purpose this particular thing is happening. A man of 70 kg, think about a man who is 70 kg in weight, requires actually 85 kg of ATP per day. And we have only 250 gram of ATP. This 250 gram of ATP is available, but we require 85 kg of ATP per day. So what is the solution? So the solution is simply the recycling. We have to recycle the ADP. We know that when energy is consumed for any process in your body, ATP will be converted into ADP. So if you can replace or if you can recycle the ADP into ATP, you can just meet this requirement of 85 kg of ATP per day. So how many times you have to recycle it? Almost more than 300 times you have to recycle the ADP to form the ATP, so that you can meet the energy requirements of your body per day, that is 85 kg of ATP per day. Okay, and that process is known as the oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, so let us see here. So simply it is the oxidative phosphorylation is the phosphorylation of ADP to ATP. What is meant by phosphorylation? It is just the adding of phosphate group. So ADP and PI will be combining, and that process is known as the phosphorylation of ADP. So the phosphorylation of ADP to ATP. So who will be combining that? So definitely there will be an enzyme, and that enzyme is ATP synthase. If you want to combine two molecules, you require energy. So from where that energy comes? So energy is coming from the proton gradient. So proton gradient, that is across the inner mitochondrial membrane, will be acting as what? A potential energy which will support the combining of ADP and PI by the ATP synthase enzyme. So proton gradient is the energy. Now the question is, who will be creating this particular proton gradient across the inner mitochondrial membrane? So this will be created as a result of transfer of electrons from where? Transfer of electron from NADH and FADH2. Hope you remember the fact that NADH plus H plus is formed in glycolysis and Krebs cycle. FADH2 is formed in Krebs cycle. Hope you remember that steps. So that NADH and FADH2 will get oxidized. We know the oxidation process. It is the release of electron, release of proton. So that electrons will be transferred into electron carriers. The inner mitochondrial membrane contains numerous electron carriers. Respiratory substances. We have discussed it in the structure of mitochondria lesson. You have to watch that and come here. Hope you have watched it and came here. Okay. So that respiratory carriers or electron carriers will receive the electrons from NADH and FADH2 by oxidation of these two substances, and that will be transferring from one substance to another. So as a result, what will happen? It will be just forming the respiratory chain or electron transport chain. When this electron passes through this respiratory chain, proton will be pumped from matrix to the cytosolic side of mitochondria. So that is actually creating a proton gradient. When you are pumping proton from one side to another, a gradient will be created where from where you have pumped will have a less concentration of proton, and to which area you have pumped, that area will have more concentration of proton. So a gradient is created across the inner mitochondrial membrane when the electron received from NADH and FADH2 passes through the electron carriers of respiratory chain. That proton gradient acts as the potential energy, using which ATP synthase enzyme combine ADP and PI to form the ATP, and that process is known as the oxidative phosphorylation. So how can you define the oxidative phosphorylation? It is a process of phosphorylation of ADP to ATP by the enzyme ATP synthase, utilizing energy, potential energy in the form of proton gradient created as a result of transfer of electron from NADH and FADH2 through a series of electron carriers in respiratory chain or electron transport system. So that is the definition of oxidative phosphorylation. You just revise the video again and learn the definition of oxidative phosphorylation well. Okay, so we can see that oxidative phosphorylation is having two parts. What are they? Electron transport system or ETS or respiratory chain is the first part. And for what purpose that is happening? It will be creating the potential energy in the form of proton gradient. So that is the first part of the oxidative phosphorylation. And which is the second part? Second part is the ATP synthesis or phosphorylation. So what is ATP synthesis? ATP synthesis is the combination of ADP and PI that will be converted to ATP by the enzyme ATP synthase, utilizing the energy in the form of proton gradient. So this part is known as the oxidation part, and this part is known as the phosphorylation part. So oxidative phosphorylation has two parts: oxidation, phosphorylation. Oxidation is electron transport system or electron transport chain, and the phosphorylation is combining ADP and PI to form the ATP by the enzyme ATP synthase. Okay, so where this particular reaction is happening, oxidative phosphorylation, it's happening within the inner mitochondrial membrane. We have discussed that in mitochondrial structure. So the oxidative phosphorylation is happening within the inner mitochondrial membrane, where you can find the organized respiratory chain with composed of electron carriers and ATP synthase enzyme on the crystal or on the inner mitochondrial membrane. Okay, now this particular oxidative phosphorylation is a perfect example of another important factor. What is that? It is a perfect example of utilization of proton gradient as a potential energy, an interconvertible currency of energy in biological systems. So the perfect example of proton gradient as potential energy or interconvertible currency of energy in biological system is oxidative phosphorylation. Think about the prokaryotic organism. We already told that eukaryotic organism, it takes place in the inner mitochondrial membrane. What about prokaryotic organism? We know that in prokaryotic organism there is no mitochondria. Cell organelles are absent. Nucleus is absent. Okay, we cannot say nucleus is absent. Instead, nucleus is not bordered by nuclear membrane. So where it will be taking place? So in case of the prokaryote, this will be taking place within the inner cell membrane. In case of the prokaryote, there are outer and inner cell membranes. And the oxidative phosphorylation will be taking place within the inner cell membrane, not mitochondrial membrane, inner cell membrane. If you are just thinking about the properties and function of inner and outer mitochondrial membrane and inner and outer cell membrane of prokaryote, you can find that they are almost similar in their function and structure. So keep in mind, the inner and outer membrane of mitochondria of eukaryote is functionally and structurally similar to inner and outer cell membrane of prokaryote. So the inner cell membrane of prokaryote is the site of oxidative phosphorylation in aerobic prokaryotic organism. So don't forget that particular fact. Okay, so that is about the introduction of the oxidative phosphorylation. After this particular lesson, you have to watch electron transport system and then ATP synthase that we will be uploading right now. Okay, so you have to watch that 2 lessons. Then only the oxidative phosphorylation will be completed. And another thing is, if you are getting university exam question, essay question, oxidative phosphorylation, write an essay on oxidative phosphorylation, or in any other way, oxidative phosphorylation is asked. So what you have to write? You have to give the introduction. You have to give the structure of mitochondria with a special reference to metabolism. Then you have to discuss the electron transport chain. Then you have to discuss the ATP synthesis. And you have to make a conclusion. So that will be a perfect essay of oxidative phosphorylation. And if you are getting essay question simply on electron transport chain, you have to just mention it's a part of oxidative phosphorylation, and then you have to explain only electron transport chain. You don't have to mention anything about ATP synthesis or any other thing. Clear? So that should be the way that you have to write the essay questions with regard to oxidative phosphorylation. Hope you understood the concept clear. And you can just watch the next part, that is electron transport chain, the first part of oxidative phosphorylation. Thank you.